AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Today we're joined by Sam Mongeau. Sam is the lead RPA developer for UIPath. Sam was one of the very first engineers and developers hired for UIPath in the US. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thanks, JP. I'm happy to be here.
So start off, talk to us a little bit about your background and how you ended up being one of the very first people to work in UIPath.
It's kind of an odd story because it didn't happen by design. My background was in engineering. I was actually a civil engineer in college, and kind of took a liking to software. I think with everyone who's been in software, you try different things, you see what sticks, you see what you like. I mean, there's so many different programming languages. A lot of it comes down to what do you enjoy. For me, as an engineer, I was working at a mechanical, actually it was a wind turbine manufacturer. So dealing with kind of the mechanical side, working in the machine shop and realizing that I think I liked computers more. I think I was more comfortable there. My days would fly by. I remember just being an engineer, I was always, checking the clock and it's 4:57. I can't leave, just waiting for the day to end. And then when I got into software, just trying to analyze a lot of test data, I realized that this is great. This got me to, my days were flying by. I really liked what I was doing. I see myself doing outside of work, and you just kind of go from there. And then a couple years later, I found myself at another company, another startup, working as a implementation support engineer, which was more like a Python developer, just strictly Python. Really got deep into that. I was rusty at first. I was not, and I wasn't perfect. And after about 5 years of that, I felt very comfortable. Didn't realize even how much I understood, how much I learned in that time. And then I guess I would call it by fate. I was approached with a job opportunity with UIPath. I told myself I would never work in the city. It was just too much. It was the hustle bustle was aggressive, and I didn't think it was for me. And was introduced to some interviewing. I watched a YouTube video of this product, this industry I knew nothing about, RPA, showcasing this tool that was so easy to use and had so much benefits. And immediately I felt like this is where I got to be. This is definitely the wave of the future. This is next step. So I got involved right out of the gate. As soon as I took the job, it was they threw you into the fire. I think I took off to Romania to understand the culture, understand the team, understand the product, and then immediately started dealing with clients. So that at that time it was purely pre-sales and post-sales engineering, meaning clients trying to understand what the product is. It was my responsibility to simplify and let them understand what the benefits are and what this technology really means and how it scales. And then on a post-sale side, it's okay. You've purchased this product. How do we make it a reality? Let me actually build out solutions for you. It was super exciting. In that first few months of being at UiPath, I learned more than I did in, I believe, the 5 years prior. So that was really exciting.
What would be interesting to learn from you is a journey from a WeWork, which is essentially where you started, to
Yeah.
We're in one of the most amazing buildings in New York City, is some of the challenges you've had to overcome during that time.
We did start with a small team. It was just a bunch of salespeople, very excellent salesmen all over the U.S., but they were traveling extensively, and we needed a team of engineers to support. So I think our original group was about 10 engineers those first couple months. And it was, hey, we need to learn this product as quickly as possible. We need the world to understand that we are the experts in this product. That was a huge challenge, to come in right out of the gate and say, Sam, you're going to be working weekends and nights until you know this inside and out. Luckily, the product was very straightforward. It's extremely intuitive. For those that had a chance to use it, it's, you understand what it's trying to do. And so we were able to pick it up rather quickly. A lot of the support that we had online, the academy, all the forums, all the information that was readily available, made it very simple to understand the product. So that was a challenge. I think all of us were on the road. I think I was traveling about 95% of the time. I was constantly on site with some customer. there was such a need for this product within the market. So you go from one enormous logo to another one, 1 week after the next. Just doing product demos or building out a proof of concept to customers who maybe doubted, what is this product? I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to solve our solution. And okay, we'll put together some thrown together solution in 2 days. And I think it would take us a couple hours before the customers would say, wow, this is incredible what you've done in such a short amount of time. So that was exciting. The challenges at that time were the travel, were working with a small team, and luckily we had great communication strategies and being able to communicate with our team in Romania to get questions answered. But that was challenging, to not having the completely organized approach as we were, just figuring things out.
Interesting journey. I want to talk to you a little bit about the role of a developer and how it differs to traditional software engineering, and sort of talk about some of the myths associated with being an RPA developer to help people understand what it actually means. So first of all, does having a strong software background help prepare anyone for a career in RPA?
Absolutely. So I can take myself as an example, someone who came in with no experience in RPA. This tool it's intuitive, it's quick to learn. It's built on a platform that was built by developers. They understood that this is going to be used by developers. It's, if anything, just another tool that people have in their tool belt when it comes to building out solutions utilizing software. So I think having that software background gives you the mindset to design programs appropriately, to design them to be optimally efficient, to be logged appropriately, to be organized properly. That's a huge benefit. I know that when UiPath started looking for engineers to actually help with the product, they looked for people who had a coding background, not necessarily an RPA background. This was a field that no one knew anything about. Some of our competition was really firmly entrenched in the US, but they knew that you can't take that path. And it turns out that the developers that we've hired, and we still take that, this is now about 2 years later, we're still hiring people looking for their software background, knowing that they're going to be able to scale. It's only going to take them a couple of weeks to get up to speed, to learn this tool, and then be able to really do some damage.
Interesting. But you also have a program internally that you run, which allows people with no prior experience to become certified as a developer, which is also amazing. One of the perceptions about RPA is it's low code. So do you find the development of this challenging, and how do you stay interested?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I do a lot of interviewing, and people who come to me and they have some concerns. I really want to work at this company. It seems like an awesome place, but I'm worried that if I pick up RPA and I decide this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to lose maybe the skill sets that I've taken to get here. I'm going to end up losing the Java implementation, whatever it is that I was working on. And that's entirely not the case. This application, yes, is just one way to write code, but there's ways in which you can integrate different types of technology in instances where you want to import from Python and import something from Java or C# and build your own pieces. Maybe you want to build custom code to help you with a solution. That's something that's frequent. I think that'll keep your skills sharp, and also from the problem solving mindset. That's still an option with all the development processes that you use. If anything, you're going to use or utilize better practices with your development, that when you eventually do go back into that type of development, you're still going to have the skill set. If anything, it's going to be sharpened. So I don't see that as a concern. I think the projects are more challenging. I think that because of RPA is so close to the business side of things, especially with user interfaces and the people who are actually taking on these roles, you end up taking a more visible role within the company. So yes, you will code, you will have times that you're by yourself and you're just developing a solution, but it's more understanding a business process to find better ways in which a bot can do it. A person can do a process one way, and yes, you can develop a coding solution that just regurgitates exactly what the person was doing. But there's also, if you understand the process better, you can find more automatable solutions, something that's more structured, something that a bot can really handle significantly quicker. So I definitely think it's very helpful.
Okay, excellent. What are the next steps in the industry? What can an RPA developer do to better prepare themselves for the new wave ahead?
To better prepare yourself, I think UiPath in general is sharing a lot of information. Is sharing everything on your academy, which comes to I think we just produced more classes recently. when it comes to either being a business analyst or a project manager, anything that's related to RPA, but also within development. We're always releasing new versions of our academy, trying to update that, and also showcase new components with this called our Go platform. That's where people actually integrate new solutions using particular something that's industry standard. So there's always ways to stay on top of RPA, especially within UiPath, as well as in the forum. Now, when it comes to next steps within RPA, I guess we kind of have to ask ourselves about the industry itself. Which direction is the industry going? Right now, we're seeing the market just dive in and scratch the surface and understand, take all the low-hanging fruit, if you will, within processes that you can automate and trying to find solutions to them. Some of these are simpler than others. Some are a bit more complex. It depends on the industry you're working with. But that's going to evolve. The people are going to say, now we have a very good confidence level with this solution. Let's start to bring it into a process that's maybe a bit more daring, something that they wouldn't have done at first. And that might utilize some more significant technology. If we start to think of the future of automation, a lot of the challenges come with process discovery, really trying to understand exactly what are all the processes that a business operates on and how do we automate those. So within process discovery is let's think of solutions that are actually understanding what a business is doing, all the steps that they're doing, all the variations that they're doing, and turn that into some sort of a data. So right now, UiPath has that capacity, has the capability to kind of listen in, to see what's going on a day-to-day basis, and then potentially taking that information, all those processes that are done in a very repeatable fashion, and turn them into automations themselves. So that's really getting into next level. Now, that portion does require some level of kind of artificial intelligence. Now, people very often will kind of sync those two species together, RPA and AI. And what RPA does, it's much more of a facilitator within AI. It generates, processes, automation processes in a way in which it's more formatted, it's standardized. So you've got a bot that's doing a process that a person typically would do. However, it's now keeping data points at every action point. It's keeping, let's say, for example, you've got some invoice processing tool. Maybe it's going to keep track of where all the invoices are coming from, where are they going to, what are the industries that are being checked upon, at what time of the day are they being received, how close is it to their due date, all sorts of information that wouldn't have typically been done if it was done by a person. This is something that will now allow for an enormous amount of data points that can be used as part of any sort of an AI model to either do some sort of predictions or create more efficient models and move on to next steps. So that's, I would say, the direction in which RPA is going, which is going to really evolve much closer to AI.
Yeah, I mean, you've been here from the start, and anyone who's listening to this probably knows the incredible unicorn story that UiPath has been on. So if you've achieved so much in such a short space of time, you'll know quite a lot more than the rest of us about what's coming down the line. Obviously, you can't divulge any trade secrets, but as one of the original guys, what are you most excited about, whether it's about UiPath, RPA, or automation and AI as a whole?
I think what I'm personally most excited about is this. I mean, I know that like when we, it's kind of hard to revert back, but maybe like 10, 20, 30 years ago, when we started to use these particular applications and they became the norm, right? You talked about Notepad and Excel and Word and all these, a lot of Microsoft applications. And I like to think that at some point in time, UiPath is just going to be that, you just use your automation tool, use your RPA tool. It's just going to be something that comes with every machine. Everyone can find a way to automate, whether it's a big process at a large organization and it's very scalable, great, or it's an automation that's very simple to do at someone's desk, or whether it's a bot that's not even just building an automation, but just having an attended bot. If you think about what an attended bot is, it's something that's working with you. So if you're doing your day-to-day job, being able to have your bot on your desk and saying, okay, these are the processes that I would like to work on, and I hope that they're available. You started your first day at that company, you start your attended bot, maybe you're in finance, and you've got all these processes that now that can be automated, and they're this similar on your machine as they would be on anyone else's machine. And all that you would need to add is some sort of input. So I'm excited about that being a possibility. I'm very hopeful, very optimistic. And I'm thinking that getting a bot on virtually everyone's machine would be, that would be really a signal that automation is the wave of the future. But that would really showcase to me that everyone can find use for this and take away so many monotonous tasks. Even here at UIPath, there's instances where, I was just talking to one of my colleagues saying, "Oh man, I need to automate something. I'm doing a lot of manual work right now, and I'd like that to go away." One of the interesting aspects of this industry that I'm in is the ethical part, the fulfilling part, the part that when we dive into what does automation mean, there's always a fear that comes with automation, which is, are we going to lose jobs? Are people going to be out of work? Are the bots going to take everything and we're going to sit there and not know what to do? And I think for me personally, I would have a really tough time working at this company if that's what I felt. I remember when I actually was considering the job, that was my biggest fear. I said, am I going to be the big bad guy taking people's jobs away? And it turned out it wasn't the case. It turns out that more often, I would say almost 99% of the time, a lot of these tasks are tasks that people don't want to be doing. It's very monotonous, it's mundane, it's simple clicking, and once you've understood it, it's, man, I don't like my job anymore. I'm not doing anything with the talent and potential that I have. I'm just wasting away my time doing pretty simple things. So when I started to see that become the reality, which is what we were replacing were things that no one cared about. There were things that were repetitive, and what that had allowed them to do, it empowered people who were doing these tasks to now see value in other portions of their job, value that is now more human, which meant that people are going to be going to work and they're going to be doing the job of a human and not the job of a tool, of a machine, of a robot. So that's what I'm really excited about, is people starting to see how much my life has changed in a large corporation because I'm doing human aspects of my job, as well as I talked about the implementation of bots as being a regular, everyday thing.
Sam, I want to talk a little bit about the incredible growth you guys have experienced, because to go from 10 people to what is it now, 3,000 in such a short space of time is, unique to say the least. I'd be interested to hear from you how you guys have been able to sustain such growth within the engineering side while maintaining standards and what you've done to build a community while on such an amazing journey.
Sure. So I can try to speak a little bit to the community side. I'm not on the community team myself, but I've been involved and entrenched in the community. And one thing I really love about the community was it's very organic. The way in which it was built was, here's a platform to share, here's a platform to help, and here's a way in which you can communicate. And luckily, our tool was geared towards people who find that very useful, very open-minded, saying, I want to go somewhere and ask a question, and someone else is just going to help me. It's kind of it's just an odd way in which you wouldn't think that would work. But you look at a site like Stack Overflow, right? That's a very similar platform where people can ask questions about technology, and people just are happy to answer. People like to answer, whether that, I don't know if that actually benefits them, but they develop some sort of reputation within Stack Overflow or within that community. So it's similar within our own community, which now is over 250,000 members. So people will ask questions, will look for events, people will post, hey, here's an RPA meetup that's going on, love for you to join. That allows people to not only be a community online, but a community in person as well. So that has been very organic. I think linking that to the academy and being able to have some sort of a profile to understand, hey, this is a certified developer. How do we know? Well, they completed the academy. That's shown within our community. So the community is not just people who are on our forums, but it's also people that are enrolled and online in some of our courses. So being able to generate, top of the line content, that's been helpful, right? And there needs to be a reason why people are going onto these sites. And it started with the simple basic, the foundation training. And then ever since it was, hey, we've got customer needs in these particular departments. So the orchestrator training, which is really more around the infrastructure. Then we get into, or there's also the infrastructure training in general. And then there's the advanced training, which is really dealing with some of the more advanced concepts. So even our own developers, that's the same criteria that they're going to use for their onboarding, which is going through each one of these classes, and it's going to prepare them to be really a great RPA developer. So having the appropriate content has been excellent. Really organizing it properly, even all the way out to our documentation, orchestrator.uipath.com, studio.uipath.com, robot, etc. That was all organized in such a manner that it's very usable. It's very open, It's always been our mantra to just be open. And then last but not least, which is the most important part of our community, is our community version. So being able to download the exact software that would be used in a production-worthy system and then develop and try to build something, and then being able to follow along with the academy is going to quickly build up a group of people saying, wow, thank you. Like you guys helped me out. And I think there's a lot of people who could take this academy and ask themselves if this is an industry they want to get into. All the tools are there for the taking. Being able to create an account and skill yourself up. And then if you ever get stuck, you can ask people, and you got people who are there to help you, whether it's UiPath employees who are responding or some of our top contributors to our community platform.
So for anyone who's curious about the technology and possibly wants to explore a career, this would be almost the first stop for them. Get on, ask questions, learn about the technology, play around with it, and let your curiosity guide you.
Yeah.
Excellent. If you were speaking to a classroom full of academics who are considering a career in tech, and you've got to make your point of why working in RPA is better than your traditional software engineering, let us know what your thoughts are.
So the reason why I think it's better, it's for someone who really wants to get up off of their desk. They want to be visible within the company. They want to build solutions that people are going to see that's going to immediately affect something. That's, for example, like a lot of the projects that I've been on, I go out on site with a customer. I have to understand and know the subject matter expert, who really ends up being the person who's actually doing the process themselves. I develop a relationship with them. I'm finding ways to automate and make their life easier. So you develop really strong relationships with the people around you. From a technology standpoint, why getting involved in RPA is such a good decision is right now this is one of the most cutting edge technologies out there. People are really excited about it. It's what quote unquote a buzzword right now. What that means is that a lot of the newest technologies are finding ways to integrate within RPA in general. So getting close to RPA is going to allow you to get close to all the evolutions that come with RPA and all the evolutions that come with AI. I think being close to this has helped me understand that that I guess if I don't get involved in this, then I'm kind of missing my opportunity. I think that this is the direction a lot of industries are going in. And I think that's, in any types of automation, you can either fight against it or you can say, I'm going to be a part of it. And I'm going to learn of it. I'm going to be one of the pioneers in understanding it, whatever organization I'm at, how to automate properly.
Well, you're certainly a pioneer of RPA and UiPath. Listen, Sam, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. For more information, contact mark@alldus.com. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.